Yeah, as we indicated in the Africa Business Agenda, which we launch every year, this year's research findings, as far as global attitudes are concerned towards Africa, is very, very encouraging. As we are aware, Africa has 1 billion people on our continent and a huge consumer market. So the growth in that space is very attractive to investors. The democratization of Africa, and we have to recognize that Africa is 54 countries, not a single country. But having said that, there's democracy starting across the continent, and it's yielding a lot of benefits. The growth imperatives and expectations are 91% of the 301 CEOs that we interviewed and on which this research report is based are indicating that in the next 12 months they expect substantial growth. And on a 3-year basis, their forecast is even stronger. 93% are saying that they expect very strong growth across the African continent. In that context, that compares kind of a lot more favorably than our global CEO, particularly because I think the global world still has the issues of the Eurozone and a depressed economy. So the position and sentiment around Africa is a lot better than what is across the globe. Now, one may ask the question that where is all this growth going to come from? As we know that there's a large number of very populous countries that are on the African continent. You can take Nigeria as an example, Ghana as an example, and these economies have huge potential in terms of consumer base, and that's where a lot of the growth is going to come from. There are different strategies that CEOs across the continent are using. Particularly, some are saying, well, it's to capture market share. That's the prime space now, rather than improving services to existing customers. But in certain more mature economies, that seems to be the strategy that's taking place. In the African continent also, companies are looking at the home base, closer to home, as to how they can capitalize the growth. And that's where they see the domestic market as a huge source of growth as opposed to international markets. CEOs are also using technology quite effectively in terms of capturing market share. Social media is becoming quite an important area for brand positioning, and in terms of interacting and connecting and remaining connected with local communities.